Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Poets and Quants' online MBA panel, Navigating Online MBA Admissions. Today, we're joined by admission experts from 3 elite programs, Georgetown, Zicklin, and UMass Isenberg. I'm your host, Christy Blyzeffer at Poets and Quants. Please feel free to use the Q&A function to submit any questions you have for our panelists. I'll do my best to get to those at the end of the session. And thank you all for joining us today. Let's begin by getting to know you a little bit. Please introduce yourself, the school you represent, the best part of your job, and what you do at your school. Brianne, let's start with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me again, Christy. It's always fun doing the Poets and Quants panels. I'm Brianne Ransom, Senior Assistant Director of MBA Admissions at Georgetown. I serve as the Flex MBA Online Advisor. And what else did you add in there, Christy?
Let's do the best part of your job.
Best part of my job, I would say overall everything. Being a part of the admissions committee, I love, hearing the stories from the different applicants, applying for the program, interacting with them as well, even though for the online is more virtual, but when they have those in-person residencies, we kind of get that in-person experience. So I think that's more of what I love overall, especially our supportive and diverse student body as well.
Absolutely. Simon.
Hi, I'm Simon Harley, Assistant Dean for Graduate Enrollment here at the Zicklin School of Business, which is part of Baruch College, which itself is part of the City University of New York public system, and we're here in downtown Manhattan, our physical campus. And the favorite part of my job, I think, is meeting recent alumni who I kind of met during the admission process, and then you get to see them coming out the other end, and usually pretty enthusiastic about their experience and wanting to be on alumni panels for our admissions events. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, absolutely. And Victoria.
My name is Victoria. I am a recruitment and CRM project manager here in Isenberg graduate programs. I'm also an Isenberg undergrad alum and a current online MBA student myself. I'm here obviously talking about the online MBA program, but I oversee all of our specialized masters and on-campus program as well. The favorite part about my job, oh my goodness, this is hard to answer, but I have to say it's the people. The Isenberg faculty, staff, and student population really instill this collaboration, innovative pride in Isenberg that I remember from my undergrad program. And that's really what drove me back to Isenberg to work here and what continues to motivate me in my current career, the people.
Very good. Thank you all for joining us and spending about 45 minutes with us today. Simon, we'll start with you. Just give us a general introduction of Zicklin, your mission and values, reputation, anything like that prospective students would want to know.
Yeah, sure. The Zicklin School is quite large. We have around 2,500 graduate students pursuing a range of programs, MBA programs, also specialized Master of Science programs. And I think, Baruch College and Zicklin does an amazing job in terms of social mobility. And that's what we're kind of very much known for in the US. We are the #1 school for social mobility in the US. So elevating students' lives, giving them opportunities to progress into well-paid careers in a range of different industries. So I think we have a transformational effect on a lot of students' lives here, and that's a great thing to be part of.
Yeah, well, that is a good thing to be known for sure. Victoria, how about Isenberg?
Sure. So, Isenberg has been a leader in online education since 2001. Since we are talking about the online MBA program today, just wanted to highlight that program is, mirrored after our same award-winning on-campus program. It's just taught in a flexible online format. So we really pride ourselves in having a high-quality, rigorous program, but taught at a flexible pace to adapt to any working professional's schedule. Our online MBA population has about 10 years of work experience is the average. So it is meant to be for career pivoters or those looking to, move up into leadership positions. So the student population is also quite strong as well. So that's just a little bit about the online MBA program without getting too much into it yet.
Very good. Breon, tell us about Georgetown.
Yeah, of course. So just thinking about our missions and values, our location and reputation. Our mission is to pretty much build global business knowledge and inspire principal leaders to serve the common good. Now, we have global leaders, we have a welcoming culture, a really close-knit community, and a worldwide alumni network. And we also believe that Georgetown McDonough School of Business is the perfect launch pad for individuals' careers, and it helps them exceed expectations. Just thinking about our other MBA programs, like our full-time is ranked, number 19th in the US and globally 38th position. And with our flex, which as Victoria mentioned about her online MBA mirroring that in-person flexible MBA, it's the same for ours. And that one is ranked 9th with US News and World Report. So that's just a little bit about, the background of Georgetown.
Yeah, very good. Thank you all. Victoria, starting with you on this next question, tell us a little bit more than in depth about the online MBA, synchronous versus asynchronous, the curriculum, clubs, culture, etc.
Sure. Yeah. So as I alluded to in my intro there, we really pride ourselves on being a flexible format. And we do have an asynchronous format, meaning there's no login time requirement. However, that being said, a lot of the professors do offer optional synchronous sessions to enhance and facilitate the learning experience. As a student myself, I took advantage of those and I found them really helpful to get to know my professors and my peers in the classroom, the virtual classroom. Additionally, we do offer hybrid courses here in Massachusetts. So for those who are studying in Mass or surrounding areas, we do offer some in-person courses in Worcester and in Boston a couple times a semester. As I mentioned, our curriculum mirrors the exact same curriculum for our on-campus program. So students will move through the same core curriculum, and then they can choose to customize in a specific area if they want to. We have focus areas in marketing, business analytics, entrepreneurship, healthcare administration, finance. I think I might be forgetting one in there, but many customization options as well as a dual degree. Again, going back to that flexibility, we offer a summer, fall, and spring start. Students can choose to take up to 3 classes a semester or take as little as 1 class a semester. So you can choose to complete your degree in as little as like 1.5 years or take up to 4 years to complete your degree. We see most students graduating in about 2.5 years with their program. For me, I'm taking about 4 years to complete my degree because I'm going slower. So I'll stop there. That's a little bit about, our format.
Yeah, well, that's flexibility in motion, right? Making it 4 years.
Exactly.
Breon, what about at Georgetown McDonough, the more in detail about your online program?
Yeah, of course. So the students can take from 24 months up to 5 years to actually complete our online MBA. It is the same amount of credits to complete as our full-time and our flex MBA in person. So that's pretty great when you're thinking about an online MBA. There are a lot of the same opportunities when it comes to our other MBA programs. Also thinking about is half core courses and half electives. So those core courses will be completed first and then move into those electives being kind of placed into your schedule along with like that partnership they'll have with their program advisor as well. You can complete the program entirely online, but you'll have a curated list of electives that's available to you. However, if you want a wider range of electives, you have they have the option to come in person to actually complete those electives with other in-person MBA students as well. Also, there are 3 in-person residencies. The first one is a week long right before the program starts. The second one is the beginning of the second year, and that's for a 3-day period span. So it's not as long as the first one. And then it goes into our favorite residency that all MBA students get to experience, which is the Global Business Experience. And that's pretty much the travel consulting project that's at the end of the second year. So with full-time students, they're pretty much going to their Global Business Experience when their program is ending. But when it comes to those flex students, it's usually at the end of the second year because they normally complete their MBA in about 3 years average time.
Gotcha.
Also thinking about traveling abroad. Usually they start the partnership with that company about 6 to 8 weeks prior to going to actually meet with them and work with them in person. So they're already establishing a relationship. It's also a mix of asynchronous and synchronous content. You'll have like your live course Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 to 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There will also be some other live options for electives, but those aren't mandatory. But for those core required courses could be 50-50 or asynchronous fully. And also if they have some prior like coursework they completed, on a graduate level, we do accept up to 12 credits as far as like transferring in to kind of help, finish that program sooner than later, actually. And then thinking about those clubs, we have about 46 active like student clubs, student ran clubs mixed with career affinity or just social interests. And those online students have access to all of those clubs, even those leadership roles as well as being in the clubs, including SGA, Student Government Association.
Wow, a lot of opportunities there. Simon, how about at Zicklin?
Yeah, our online MBA program is relatively new. We launched it last year and we took in our first class last fall. I mean, we already have a well-established full-time MBA program and evening MBA program, which is like a part-time professional MBA program. And so the online MBA is the same program, the same academic curriculum, 48 credit program that has, roughly half required courses and the other half are electives, or there's flexible courses as well. And so for the way it works with the online MBA, the format is, it's fully online, but there is a synchronous component. So students in this program are required to meet once a week synchronously online on Wednesday evenings for like an hour.
Yeah.
And then they currently can only take 1 or 2 classes each semester, so 3 to 6 credits, and those are 7-week sessions each, so like half semesters but more intensive. They can step off and step back on again if they want to, so it has that flexibility. If something comes up in their work lives, professional lives, or personal lives, suddenly they can take a semester out or a half semester off and come back. So it's kind of a modularized format. So currently the program is structured so that students taking fully online classes would complete in about 3.5 years to get through that 48 credit program. That's taking a summer class as well online. But and that's pretty much in keeping with the kind of average amount of time it takes our evening MBA students anyway to complete, because these folks are mostly working full time and just don't have that kind of time capacity to get through an MBA in 2 years, let's say, like the full-time MBA program. However, if they do want to, increase their pace through the program, they do have the flexibility to take additional in-person or hybrid classes to supplement their fully online schedule. Of course, that only works for people who are geographically, close to New York City, so they could also take in-person classes. But actually, I would say about 80 to 90% of our students currently meet that definition. They are pretty much in a 30-mile radius of New York City, with a small number from further afield, other states and internationally. So that they have the same access to the campus resources that our regular MBA students do. For example, our Graduate Career Management Center and library resources. These things are all virtual and online now anyway. And if they are living near New York, they can come to the campus too. They can take full advantage of things like the gym and so on. So it very much depends on their personal circumstances, how the modality in which they receive the services. It could be fully online. If they want to, they can get those services in person too.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thank you. So Brian, tell us a little bit about the diversity of the Georgetown McDonough online cohort and why, diversity of background, industry, role, function matters in graduate business education. What are the benefits?
Yeah, of course. I think there are so many benefits. I can probably go on and on and on about how many there are, just having a diverse cohort, but just thinking about, I think one of the greatest benefits will be like getting your MBA with future world leaders. Like these are individuals who are going to go and like do great things, whether behind the scenes or right in front, like on the scene, so everyone can actually see who's actually doing it. But just thinking about the unique perspective that they're gaining, in these conversations within classes from people with different backgrounds, different walks of life, different industries, different functions, and kind of assisting others where you may be stronger at, and likewise vice versa. And at Georgetown, we're really committed to continuing to build a diverse and inclusive community. Currently, we represent over about 40 countries within our community. And that's just thinking about the MBA alone, whereas though in the McDonough School of Business, it's about 60 plus countries. So you're going to see many different individuals and learn so many different things about their cultures as well. And we also use the 7 C's to guide our DI efforts across the school, just thinking about composition, communication, curriculum, co-curriculum, careers, and community. And then, of course, culture. Our culture should reflect and reinforce our commitment to D&I and our Jesuit values. So that's something we stand by, and we want to continue that work.
Very good. Thank you. Simon.
Diversity is really important here at Baruch. And, I guess as a public university here with relatively affordable tuition, we already attract a very diverse group of candidates. And being in New York as well, we have students from more than 40 different countries, different languages, and they're not international students. These are from New York, right? New York is a melting pot. But we also do attract international students as well. And I think it's so important, right? Because when they graduate, they're going to go work in companies or nonprofit organizations, or, and they're going to be working alongside folks from lots of different backgrounds and cultures. And, that this is giving them a really good grounding in how to operate with people who are different than you, different opinions, different backgrounds, different cultures. And so they'll be managing teams with folks in them. So it's making them culturally attuned, and it's a major strength. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Victoria, what are your thoughts?
Sure. I loved the statement, getting your MBA with future world leaders. That was a fantastic statement to lead in with. And I think that, Isenberg really prides itself on following that statement as well. We really try to create inclusive leaders, broaden our students' networking opportunities. I really feel like, or we feel here in Isenberg, that studying with a diverse cohort or professionals really helps to enhance the learning experience, broaden career perspectives, so that way our students can go into the workplace and become inclusive leaders like their own. Our group discussions that are held in the online realm are always bringing in new perspectives that you may have not, thought of in your own context. I find that that's an example of how our online student population really gets to know about different perspectives. Interacting and building relationships with peers in the online networking events, or attending an in-person event, is another great way in which you can continue to grow your global network. Outside of, just the student experience, Isenberg is dedicated to their DEI efforts. We have a fantastic director here in Isenberg who is, really focusing right now on building up some clubs and student representation, and making sure that our online student population has access to those resources as well.
Very good. Thank you. Simon, we'll go back to you. We're kind of going to talk now about, finding the right school for your personal values and your professional values. What kind of advice do you have for applicants on choosing the right program? Trying to align both their professional and personal goals.
I think that if you're looking around for an MBA, it's going to be very much based on what kind of experience you're getting in terms of the academics to start off with, right? So there's MBAs with different specializations, different focuses. And obviously you need to make sure you're going to get the skills that you want, So for example, our MBA is a STEM MBA, so it's very focused on data analytics. But there may be, other MBAs that have focuses on something else more, and you want to make sure for example, sustainability, and you want to make sure that's aligned with your goals. And I think you have to look really carefully at the outcomes so checking the kind of metrics on employers, what kind of destinations your graduates go to the school you're looking at, what kind of companies, employers, and advancement you're getting. I think the values are going to be quite similar, across MBA programs.
Yeah.
We're all trying to train the next generation of leaders who are culturally, savvy, smart, respectful, globally minded as well now. And these things you're going to get those in most MBA programs, really. So I think you're looking at curriculum, and I will say a little plug for Baruch, that you need to look on your return on investment.
Yeah.
What are you getting for this rather large sum of money that you're going to spend on your MBA? And you need to check that out. And I'll just say, our program at Baruch last year, our full-time MBA program was ranked #1 in the United States for return on investment by US News and World.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Victoria, how about you? Advice for finding, the right alignment and fit?
Sure. I think a lot of my feedback is very similar to what Simon was sharing, really looking at the curriculum, making sure it's going to align with your career goals. As I was mentioning earlier, we have several focus area opportunities, a dual degree in business analytics. So students are taking advantage of those to help propel them into their career. Career resources is another thing that I typically advise students to take a look into. We offer a fantastic online platform for our online students that has career insights, industry guides, networking opportunities for our online student population. So career resources, and then just connecting with individuals like myself, recruitment specialists, alums, current students in the program. I know that choosing a program that best aligns with your career goals can be incredibly daunting. So we have a fantastic recruitment specialist team who can speak one-on-one with prospective students about their goals, about the Isenberg curriculum and more in depth, and then about the career resources that are available to them. Something that I end up talking to a lot with prospective students who aren't really sure if grad school is for them. They might want to just test the waters, are certificate programs. We do offer certificates in foundations of management, business analytics, and project management that can be taken as a standalone 12-credit curriculum, like certificate, or they could be a pathway to our online MBA. So it's a great way to test out the waters, enhance your skill set without committing to an online MBA program right off the bat. So those are really popular for those folks who aren't too sure if they're ready to tackle a grad degree.
Absolutely. And Breon, what do you think?
My advice would be, and I'm gonna start out with one of our faculty members. Her name is Allison Coister. I hope I'm not mispronouncing her. I think it's Coister or Custer, but she teaches for finance in the finance subject for our MBA students. And she always says, think about your why. Think about why you want to do an MBA. That's first thing. Why do you want to do this? What do you want out of, your MBA program? Because yes, most MBA programs are very similar, or the offerings, but think about that particular school's culture, think about the community, consider your goals and see which program will help you accomplish those goals. Research your program of interest. You can't research enough. Think about those mission and values. Is that something you can see yourself being a part of for the rest of your life, as a part of that community? Because not only are you going to be a student throughout that time, but you're going to be an alumni. You may have a family, you may have children. Everyone's kind of going to be in that as well. Think about reunions and things like that. Think about the questions you should ask. How strong is the sense of community? What opportunities are there for me to travel internationally or just broaden my global perspective overall? How diverse is the MBA? And what opportunities do you have as a part-time online MBA students when it comes to the Career Center? Because that's one of the biggest resources out of your MBA program. Thinking about the ROI, your MBA is going to be very expensive. It's a huge investment. So you're going to be looking forward to that ROI and what you're going to get out of it. And just thinking about our online MBA, you have the access to the Career Center, the same as full-time. part-time in person. You get to have access to that full-time like recruiting process as well. Thinking about the mixture of your classes, thinking about that flexibility overall. And I know a lot of the individuals who are looking into the online MBA program have started their lives. They have careers going on now. They may have gotten married, started families, not all, but there are big significant pieces in their lives where they need that flexibility, whether it's just traveling or, annual trips with your family. So there's a lot to think about when you're considering an MBA, let alone just a grad program overall, continue your education.
Yeah, of course, of course. Victoria, let's get into maybe, excuse me, some of the, the bread and butter, which are the career outcomes. What kind of outcomes have you seen in OMBA as classes have graduated and are graduating in the years to come? And are there things that prospective students should be considering as they make these big decisions?
I think just like my co-panelists here have shared, return on your investment is really important to consider. Isenberg does pride itself on being a quite affordable program. You can check out our tuition page and learn all about that. But, thinking about that price tag and seeing, where our students are going, we're really pleased with the outcomes. Students are typically like career pivoting, moving into leadership roles. Some are taking on entrepreneurial ventures. Actually, the alum who's speaking on the alumni panel right after this, he finished up his online MBA and moved into an entrepreneurial venture of his own. We have about a third of our online student population who are healthcare professionals. So a lot who have been, practicing physicians who are looking to, hang the stethoscope and move into more of a CMO or not CMO, CMO position or just general consulting or something like that. We have over 48,000 alumni across 80 countries, and many of them serve as mentors, guest lecturers, and network connectors for Isenberg. We have a fantastic platform here at UMass called Connect UMass. So any current students can connect with all UMass Amherst alumni and Isenberg alumni as well. So we really try to create those connections right off the start. Here in Isenberg, we have a wonderful platform offered by our Office of Career Success, which is called iConnect. I think I've referenced it a couple of times today, but it's this online professional development platform where our Office of Career Success offers networking events, workshops, guides for our online student population. I mentioned healthcare as a really popular industry of our online MBA population, financial services, retail, science, technology. Those are some of our other most popular top industries.
Yeah. Excuse me, Breon, tell us about some of the OMBA career outcomes the trends you've been seeing at Georgetown, McDonough, and what's coming, do you think?
Yeah, thank you for that question, but it's not easy for me. Only because our first MBA cohort won't be finished until 2026. The inaugural class did start in fall of 2023, which the program launched in the fall of 2022. But just thinking about and it kind of depends on what they want to do, like post MBA. Like our Flex MBA MBA online students will be able to participate in formal recruitment, as I kind of mentioned earlier. In their final year of their program. We do anticipate their access to the opportunities will match our Flex in-person students. They also have access to formal recruitment, and a distinguishing factor for our program is not common among other top MBA programs. Now, this is their first year, so we'll understand more as time do continue. However, just to add, especially since our Flex MBA online is kind of similar to our Flex MBA in person, our top employment industries post MBA for our Flex MBA were financial services, consulting, and technology, and also with a 50% increase in compensation over a 3-year duration, with some of our top employers being Amazon, Bain, Deloitte, McKinsey, and many more.
Great, thank you. And Simon, how about at Zicklin?
Yeah, so our online MBA, as I say, launched last year, so we're not going to have any alumni to really talk about for a little while. But we're expecting them to have similar kind of pathways as our evening MBA students do. to some extent full-time MBA as well. There's very similar sort of demographics, the student population, average age around 30. Usually we require at least 2 years work experience, but they have on average, 6-7 years work experience, full-time work experience after graduating with their bachelor's. And they're already working in a range of industries, of course, being in New York, many in financial services, banking, and but also consumer goods and healthcare and, marketing agencies. And it's just really long list.
Yeah.
And the kind of positions, I think most students in evening MBA program and an online MBA program are going to be career advances. They're advancing their career in their chosen industry. They're already kind of established and they were looking to get up to the next level managerially. In some cases, they are switching like completely, but it's unusual because that's a difficult thing to do without being in a traditional full-time MBA program. Not impossible, just more difficult. And so, if we look at our MBA graduates from the evening MBA program, they're going into a range of different positions, and it really depends how much work experience they have when they start. If they're coming in with just 2 years work experience, they're not gonna be C-suite execs, right? The people who have like 10 years experience, then we'll have a couple of those folks moving into that level. Assistant vice presidents, senior project managers, director of HR at American Express, for example. It's a really, really long list of different kind of roles. Some go more into data science analyst roles. It's very wide ranging. But I think what they all have in common is they are making a move, right? They're making an upward move by the time they're graduating.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great insight from all of you into your programs. We're going to pivot a little bit to some questions that have been submitted by prospective online MBA candidates and the things that they said they wanted to know. And so we'll just kind of take turns answering a couple of these. Simon, starting with you. What advice do you have for the part-time online applicants and how maybe they want to tell their story a little differently in the application process?
I think for the online students, there is really nothing different they need to do than a regular professional evening MBA student. They're in many cases very similar profiles, as I said. It's really about they're choosing online because maybe they're working from home all the time. They don't want to have to make a trip into New York City, or they have childcare demands. They're working from home for that reason, and so they're choosing online programs that fits their lifestyle. And I don't think they really need to tell us too much about that. We're assuming that that's why they're choosing the online program. So the kind of usual thing that we want to know is just really developing a sense of why does they want to do an MBA period, whichever MBA it is, what's motivating them, because we know that motivated students are the ones who will have good outcomes, both academically and then beyond the program.
Yeah. I think this next question is a good one from all three of you. Do you want to just briefly kind of give us some outline on the types of financial aid or scholarships available for online MBA students? Breon, start with you.
Yeah, so online MBA students do have access to scholarships as well, thinking about full-time and flex in person. Now, everyone knows full-time do get the bulk of scholarships. That's just how it is. It's always been that way. But the most that we've given, thinking about the online MBA, probably would be about $11K. But you do have access to that. And when you submit your application, you're automatically considered for scholarships. So you'll know if you're a recipient of that, if it's in your offer letter. Merit-based, not need-based, but there are also other opportunities for you, especially if you're accepted into the program, you received a scholarship, but you're like, hey, this MBA is expensive. I need more money. So there are other scholarships available to you through our student accounts, our financial services department as well. Other external opportunities, thinking about internal opportunities as well. So they are there. Just make sure you speak with your advisor like myself, and also connecting with student accounts as well to hear all the resources and opportunities that are available for you.
Yeah. Simon, do you have any insight on those kinds of opportunities at Zicklin?
Yeah, this is usually a really quick conversation about scholarships because we actually do not offer any scholarships for our online MBA program. And we have very few anyway for our graduate programs. Probably like Georgetown, the money we do have, we tend to reserve for our full-time MBA program because for the reason that those folks are not working. And to spend
Right.
2 years in New York City and not work is an expensive proposition. So we tend to try and help them as much as we can. So for the part-time students who are nearly all working, we have, I wouldn't say none, but very, very few scholarships available.
Great. And Victoria, what about at UMass?
Sure. Yeah, in comparison to our on-campus program, which is fully funded, we do not offer any scholarship for our online MBA program. Also, however, a lot of our students, because they are working professionals, they're taking advantage of their employer tuition benefit opportunities. We actually have a lot of partnerships, but that offer a 10% discount on our pretty already affordable tuition. So leveraging your tuition benefits through work or through our partnerships. We also offer extended payment plan options, which is popular for employers. They want to see how the student did in the class first before they foot the bill. So we defer the payment to after the semester. So we have ways in which we will work with these professionals for their tuition benefits for their employers, but unfortunately no scholarships.
Absolutely. Interesting. So do you guys have particular resources for those students that are juggling their families, their jobs, their, life as a student? What kind of help or assistance is available for those kinds of students that may be struggling with that balance? Let's go to Breon.
So there may be some resources when it comes to like maybe childcare and things like that, but there are many resources when it comes to family, especially if they have to travel with you, thinking about the residencies. Also thinking about that flexibility, like, hey, things come up with your family. And our professors have flexibilities, reaching out to them, connecting with them, office hours, just letting them know, hey, this is what's going on. And they would definitely bend over backwards to try to make sure that you get the information you need from that class or whatever you may need to, help advance. Because we not only want you to come to our school, be in our online MBA program, but we want you to be successful and have the support you need to comfortably, succeed and complete your program.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon?
Yeah, so as an online MBA student here, you're going to have access to all the kind of Baruch College's student affairs resources, which includes things like the counseling center. So if you need to reach out about that, we have a veterans support office for military veterans studying here, a disability services center, and other resources. So, you're not on your own when you're a student here, that you can reach out and get support.
Very good. And Victoria?
Sure. Yeah, echoing, we have all those types of resources available for our online student population as well. And just touching on that flexibility again, emphasizing that our faculty are well-versed on working closely with the students and, adjusting any deadlines if needed, meeting with them one-on-one. Some professors even put out their cell phone numbers and say, you can call me, you can text me. So they're available for the online student population when anything comes up.
Great, thank you. Well, let's close with kind of your closing argument for your online MBA program for viewers who are still, in the research phase and looking for that program fit for them. And be sure to close with the best way for interested candidates to get in touch with you or your school. Simon, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so for our online MBA, I think the real value of it is that you're getting the same academic experience, the same great professors, but you can access them from the comfort of your own home. You don't have to, commute into New York if you're from around here. It's a great program. You've got the same and support services too from our career management center with trained career coaches who can help you figure out your next step, how to network effectively and leverage our huge alumni network, which is mostly in and around New York, but also in other parts of the US and countries such as India and China and so on. So it's and for all this, for really a fraction of the cost that you will find at elite MBA programs. I mean, the online MBA costs between in total tuition and fees are between $40,000 to $50,000, depending if you're in New York State or outside New York State.
Yeah, very good. And how can people get in touch with your
Oh,
office?
sorry.
What's the best
Yeah,
way?
best way is to come to one of our live chats on Zoom, which we hold weekly, or attend a webinar, which we usually host once a week. And they can find out about details like that by coming to our website. You just Google Baruch Zicklin MBA. You'll find us.
All right, super. Victoria, what about at UMass?
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, Isenberg has been a leader in online education since 2001. So we've been awarding online MBAs for over 20 years now. The fact that you're walking away with your degree, with the exact same degree as our on-campus students, but not putting your life on hold, is really something to, keep in mind when you're considering going back for grad school. The flexibility that the online program offers, taking one class a semester, pausing for a summer, winter if needed, the ability to customize your degree with some focus areas. All those types of things are something to consider when considering your MBA. To get in touch with me, you can reach out to me via LinkedIn, email, set up a time to speak right on our website. You can just go to the Isenberg Contact Us page and set up a one-on-one call with a recruitment specialist. We also offer monthly information sessions as well, but to get that one-on-one connection, you can feel free to reach out directly.
Very good, thank you. And Breon.
Yeah, of course. Just making sure that when you're in your research process, connect with your advisors, the recruiters of the program, because they are the ones who are going to help guide you throughout the process, get those questions answered, get you connected with other members of the community, whether it's students or alumni, the Career Center, or those student clubs, just those main interests for you. Whatever is going to be that decision factor for you, definitely dig and find out through your advisor. Don't feel like you're being a pest to your advisor, because this is a huge investment and you should definitely be asking as many questions as possible, shooting emails back and forth. I think that's the best way to definitely get a feel if this program is for you. Also making that time to come to some of those events, even if you're in the DC area or you are just visiting, try to come to campus and, get that in-person experience, because not only will your program be online and you have those in-person opportunities, but just knowing your way around, just kind of getting a feel for that. And I think that's very important. The way you can get in touch with me and the MBA admissions team at Georgetown. Our email, obviously, Georgetown MBA, Georgetown edu. My email directly is br593@georgetown.edu. I'm happy to connect with you, speak further about the program. And get you connected, like I said, further within the community. We do have some great events coming up where we have some class visits as well. We just did our Flex MBA Online Summit, where we had a student experience panel, the Career Center panel, also a faculty panel that really gives you a great idea of what it's like to be in our online MBA classes. And those students that's on that panel are in the program right now. So that will give you a great idea of what it's like to be a student with us. It's on our McDonough YouTube.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you all for, your valuable time and expertise. You all provided some great insights into your MBA programs today. For all our viewers out there, thanks for joining. And we've got several other great panels like this lined up today and tomorrow. So be sure to check all those out. You can always go to poetsandquants.com for other informative articles, videos, and more in-depth coverage of online MBA programs. And until we see you again, thanks for listening.